Hello everybody, welcome to Granted Survival. This channel I'm devoting primarily to creating my maps for Minecraft, survival related Minecraft maps. Here you are looking at the top down view, not particularly interesting from there, but this is the very start of my development of my new map, Frenzy of the Forbidden Fruit. It's all about the player who treks through these giant caverns once populated by a sentient kind of being known as the Elders, or even the Elder Elves. But they once lived here thousands of years ago, and were in great conflict with the warlocks, who essentially took over, stole all the treasure, and eventually forced all of these elders to evacuate their home. They initially came to this underground depth from the surface, as the surface is a magical place lit with giant creatures, giant unimaginable creatures that forced them into this new habitat, these caverns, which I've created with one feature of World Painter, the caverns population, which I absolutely adore. It's really, really interesting to play around with, or at least there's not much you can do to edit how they look, but there's a lot you can do with them for a map like what I'm creating. It's a bit of an RPG, this map. There's going to be a lot of different jobs that your player is going to be involved in. You'll be working as a recruit for a group of remaining elders who didn't evacuate, who as traitors or as prisoners or whatever, that they've vowed to stay behind and try their best at obtaining as much treasure as they can, stealing it back from the warlocks who initially stole it from them. They'll be trying to get it back, and over the years your player eventually comes down and meets all of these elders at safe haven structures, and you're tasked with doing the jobs that they once had years and years ago. Unfortunately, they're a bit older now. They're unable to do exactly what they did. They're too old to fight the warlocks, and you're tasked with the job of continuing what they were tasked to do. And what you're looking at is 4-level caverns. Progressively, you'll be moving your way down these caverns. You'll be looting all of the ancient structures of all their treasure, trading it with the villager elders at the safe havens for powerful resources, which will help you get through the map and fight the varying levels of difficulty of enemy in their structures. And these giant platforms here segregate each level, and you travel through each level at the very center, which is a connector structure, which is where you change from level to level. But you're not intended to switch level until you've looted the entirety of the level that you've just played. Once you've looted it, you've got all of the loot you need. You should be good enough to go down to the next level. If you were to change level off the bat, if you found the connector structure and went to the next level, the difficulty of enemy would be atrociously difficult. Like you wouldn't be able to survive against the next level enemies until you're geared and prepared for them from the last level. So that's how that works. A little bit of creative mechanic on my part that I thought I'd play around with. I've done a lot of writing on this map, and I've gotten to the point now that I've done so much writing, there's not much more for me to do than actually work on it. Yeah, so I was recording earlier, but you'll see me periodically check open broadcast software because for some reason it stops recording, and it's really annoying. But yeah, it likes to do that for some reason. So yeah, in the video that I recorded, that I just didn't quite record fully, unfortunately, I added these giant platforms, which segregate all of the levels out. Yeah, separate all the levels. In this video, I'm going to be quickly adding walls, as you're obviously not intended to walk out on these platforms. So I'm going to add 250 block high walls, which cover the entirety of the map. In fact, you know what, scratch that, I'm not going to be doing that in this video because that's just tedious and you're not going to want to watch that. So I'm just establishing, this is the start of the creation of my map, and I'm going to do a lot of videos working on it. In the next video I'm probably going to be replacing all of this gold. I'm going to be replacing it with glowstone to create a really nice ambient effect that I'd like to share with you and myself, because I don't really intend this video getting too many views unless the map gains popularity and people find out about my channel, but a lot of these videos are to just show myself exactly what I've made and how I've made it, so that later on in the development of the map I can go back and see how I've created a certain thing. My memory obviously isn't perfect, and these videos will be helping me just figure out exactly how I've done something, in what way, so I can either recreate it or so that I can figure out what I need to change if I need to change something. That's looking a little bit more like it. There's the center spawn point there. It's going to be a big hole that we're going to fall through into the caverns from a tower. And in that tower you get to overlook the surface terrain for a little bit, and then when you fall through you start somewhere around here. It's going to be a bit more spacious as it's the beginning, and it's going to establish you into the map. It's going to help you get primary resources together. You're not going to be very kitted, but it's going to hopefully give you a bit of a head start, or at least start you off without dying immediately. So what I've done here is I've created the walls, and I've done this using the brush tool, and I've made the length and the width both 1, so it's just a 1 block tall tower, 201 height, which makes it just about, yeah, it makes it just 1 block taller than the height of the actual place itself. As you can see, it's made a pretty interesting pan on the outside, but the player now can't get on the outside here. You can from the top though, but you're not supposed to. You can if you want when you go on the surface, but there's not really much point. The idea though is just so that the player can't necessarily get into other levels. For example, the player can't change level from the outside, only from the inside. So we've sandwiched a layer of bedrock a little bit. Yeah, you can see what I've done. Got 4 levels. Each will progressively be a bit harder than the last, with equivalent structures. Yeah, I'm quite happy with it. Again, I'm going to be replacing all of this gold. I'm going to be replacing it all with glowstone too for this ambient effect. I just want to make sure there's not too much glowstone. I don't think there is though. There's a perfect amount in my opinion. Yeah, we got bits here and there, but it's not overwhelming as far as I know. I'd rather it be a bit less than that. It works. It's not bad. Yeah, I might as well just do it now, to be honest, because I want to show you it in this video as opposed to in a future one, and then we'll be done with the video. This video is just establishing the map, the beginning of its creation. It's also helping me, the future me, get to grips with how I've developed it, how I've created it. These are annoying. It's just my mouse double clicking every now and again. while I'm brushing in this wall, and sometimes it double clicks and they pop out over here. Bit difficult to explain exactly why they do that, but luckily they haven't done it on the other side, on the inside of the map, luckily, so yeah. So we're going to be selecting the entire thing, and it is pretty big, but I am prepared I am prepared to put as many structures as I can, and make sure the whole thing is as full as possible. So there we go, whole thing has been selected, and we're going to simply find gold ore and replace it. Okie dokie then, so we've updated all the chunks, and all of the gold ore has been replaced with glowstone, which is lighting up the entirety of the cavern in small places. I find it just a really neat look for this map, because it gives the player a little bit more of a sense of direction, you know. It gives you a bit more of an adventurous outlook to go around and find all of the little bits in the map. I especially like the surface of each level. As you can see, you can go through each level and there's a new surface. I really enjoy this little bit at the bottom. It's really nice. It's really fun. Let's just go around and see how this cavern terrain is generated. Arguably there's a little bit too much glowstone, but at the same time I think there's also just enough, because the natural spawns, they're going to be a bit more dense, and for the later levels that'll be perfect. For the first level, I could theoretically remove I could remove all the glowstone, and then attempt to use a different filter, find a filter that will generate random blocks like glowstone a little bit less frequently, so that the natural spawns won't be dense, as they all spawn in the darkness, and the more light there is in a big open area like this, the more there will be natural spawns in one place. Yeah, but I think this is perfect. You know, it lights up just about every place you can go. The ceiling isn't lit up at all, neither is the ground. Which actually I probably will do the ceiling. I quite like the idea of lighting up the ceiling with glowstone as well. Yeah. But yeah, that's it so far. I'm quite happy with the result. A part of me was thinking I would never actually go ahead and do any of this because it's already a lot of effort I've put in. But I'm looking forward to waking up tomorrow and working on it a bit more, figuring out exactly what the next thing it is I've got to do. I'm probably going to start working on the surface terrain that I'm going to stick on the top, and I'm also going to work on this middle spawn. I'm going to work on a hole and a tower, so that the player spawns up in tower, say up, so say there's a tower here, the player spawns inside it like a little structure, and then there's a little hole, and you jump down through this middle, all the way down into this cavern, and onto cobwebs, so that the player doesn't take any full damage, as that's what cobwebs help do. And then I'm going to clear out this area, make it a nice wide open space, nice and flat, and put some resources in it, and put some interesting things in it. You'll see what's going to happen. Alright, hope you enjoyed this little establishment. There's going to be a whole lot of improvements I'm going to make. There's going to be a whole lot of things that you can do in this map. What you're seeing is just the raw beginning, just the cavern terrain, and yeah, it sure is a very, very big map. Not as big as the last version that I was working on. That was about 1,000 blocks in diameter. This is only 666. So it's a little bit smaller than the last one. I thought the last one was just overwhelmingly huge, and I just don't think I'd be able to fill the whole thing with structures. Still a bit questionable whether I'm going to be able to fill this whole thing with structures. But if I've got enough time, I mean I've got plenty of time, you know, I'm just going to go around and place special blocks, or just a special block is just a block that doesn't occur anywhere else in the map that I can use in an MC-edit filter to replace with a structure which I'm going to create. So at some point I'm going to create a list of random structures, and there's going to be a whole lot of them. There's going to be different materials, and they're all going to be for different levels. So the top structures will be made out of stone bricks. The level 2 structures are going to be probably still going to be made out of stone bricks. I might spice it up a little bit and use a different material. I'm not really entirely sure what I'm going to do for the second level, but I know for a fact that level 3 is going to be using the nether bricks, because they're looking a little bit hostile. I like nether bricks. And then for level 4 it's going to be obsidian structures, so that they don't blow up, because there's going to be a whole lot of explosions in the 4th level. Also probably a whole lot of lava and lots of not very nice things that you're going to have to take on, but they're going to be, it'll be relieving. It'll be relieving when you actually defeat them, at least. So I'll leave you with that. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.